Dear parents, COVID-19 gives you ample amount of time with your family. The society has experienced that once youngsters they begin working, they drift away from their parents. One of the principal reasons for this is financial independence. Financial independence gives youngsters a sense of freedom that can lead to unintended ego clashes between them and their parents. Youngsters tend to become overtly confident about their financial gains and in the process end up hurting their parents' sentiments. For this, the tips are for the youngsters. They must never ever repeatedly make their parents aware of their financial contributions. Otherwise, that might make them feel less capable than before. And the tips for the parents. Parents must understand that at this age, youngsters have a lot of urgent priorities to fulfill. They have an ambition. They want to run. They must try not to expect too much out of their children and yet guide them on occasions, if at all possible, on spending their money very carefully. Second reason is some communication mishaps. Unpredictable work hours can increase the communication gap between parents and children. This eventually may make the parents feel neglected. For this, the youngsters must understand that they must consider a meeting with their parents every day in the evening, during dinner time or after that, as one of the most important and most invaluable appointment of the day. Their parents at this age do expect this from you, that you sit with them, talk to them, ask them about day's happenings. And parents must also understand a bit that sometimes it is not just the quantity of the time spent with the children, because now they're grown up, they have their financial world, they have their social world. So it's the quality of the time that is spent with them really matters. So they must give their children their space and yet make sure that they indulge in some communication about his or her future goals. That is some constructive and productive communication. The third important reason for drifting away is guilt and tension. Due to the constant arguments and fights, youngsters may end up feeling disheartened and guilty. Ultimately, it affects the house atmosphere, which makes interaction even more difficult. Some tips for the youngsters in this case. First, understand that your parents are not responsible for your stress at work. Second, try and speak your heart out to them regarding your problems, personal or professional, rather than indulging in baseless fights. A couple of tips for the parents in this case is that never emotionally blackmail your child, because this will only increase the pressure on him or her. Second, help them to develop a mature attitude to handle the stresses of life and be as supportive as possible. This is how you develop a strong bonding with your young, grown-up, financially independent children. जय स्वामीनारायण। प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज शताब्दी महोत्सव की जय।